in the days to come. Now shifting our focus, Military Operations Command, the rebel coalition consisting of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham has taken the eastern Syrian city of Deir Ezzor from the US-backed Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. Military Operations Command spokesperson Hassan Abdul Ghani has said that we announced the city of Deir Ezzor and its military airport as completely liberated. The SDF took control of the portion of the city east of the Euphrates and in the year 2017. After the ISIS was driven out, the city is the capital of the governor of the same name, which is home to oil and wheat fields. All right, my colleague Aditya Vadhavan joins me live on the broadcast. Aditya, now in fact, Syria celebrates the fall of Assad as Israel is accused of now land seizure. Now, what is the latest that you are tracking as far as the Middle Eastern nations and the developments are there concerned? Assad's rule comes to an end, while in fact senior Syrian officials from the deposed Bashar al-Assad regime have begun to transfer the power to HTS-led interim government.
Simran, rightly pointed out by you, recently what is the most important development is that the Biden administration is considering to remove Hayat Tahrir al-Sham from its designated list of foreign terrorist organizations to cooperate with the new Syrian government. And on the other hand, Amnesty International has also appealed the nations to reconsider the asylum applications after several European nations have forwarded considering their asylum applications to various citizens. The situation currently in Syria is very volatile because the Bashar al-Assad has been ousted and the new government has taken over, led by the rebels, which needs to be seen. Right now the situation is tense, and it needs to be seen how the situation in the times to come will unfold, because Syria has a history of being in such turbulent takeovers in the past also. When some years back Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, led by ISIS, had taken over the country, and then after some years he was eliminated by the US forces in Syria. The US forces have been conducting from time to time. We have seen that US air forces have been conducting their drone strikes within Syria, which might increase in the times to come, because the situation is tend to get worse in the times to come. It needs to be seen very carefully as to how the situation unfolds. And on the other hand, Israel has been pounding Syria since yesterday. Like in 48 hours, Israel has attacked Syria 480 times. Because Israel, on the other hand, Israel is also embroiled in a conflict with the Iranian proxies, which are Hamas and Hezbollah. So Israel is also carefully looking at the situation, because it does not want any further war from the other side, because it is encircled by all the adversaries. So it needs to be seen as to how the situation unfolds.
All right, Aditya, thank you for adding these details and giving us the latest inputs. Now, in fact, my guest, Major General Sudhakar Ji, is also joining me live on the broadcast. Appreciate you joining me now, sir, and thank you for speaking to us. The uprising of the rebel forces in Syria and the fall of Assad's regime, in fact, is looking at one of the most crucial moments right now, as the US-backed Kurdish forces have withdrawn from the northern Syria city amid there are attacks from Turkey-allied groups. How do you view this entire region of where in fact conflict struck and the fall of Assad came to an end?
Simran, good morning. Thank you for getting me to your show. I really don't know how much time you have. I would have loved to dilate the entire perspective, giving the historical background, then the geography and other things, but let me allow me to give very quick reflections on.
Yes, please. Certainly. We can of course hear you giving us more context briefly, if that's possible.
Yeah. You see, one needs to understand that this is a historical legacy. It is an old baggage being carried by one family or dynasty for more than 50 years. And the entire governance was driven by the autocratic parameters and principles. When you talk about the autocratic parameters and principles, what it actually resulted was in denial of meeting the aspirations of the people, meeting the basic necessities. So much so the electricity, water, roads, houses, education, the clothes, roti, kapda, makan that we talk of. You see, Syria as a nation is in shambles. The economic status, it is in going through hyperinflation. So it's in a bad state. So under these circumstances, uh, Assad has actually made his escape good to Moscow, and I would say it's perhaps to my understanding is bringing in or ushering in a new era in Middle East. Perhaps I would say because things are very volatile, very unpredictable. Which side it will go, I really can't say. Number two point I wish to highlight is there are multiple stakeholders. The multiple stakeholders going by the geography of this particular country. You see, it has got borders with Turkey. It has got border towards the north. It has got borders with Iraq. It has got border. Small, tiny portion is jutting out. I don't know how it is showing on the map. Iran, it doesn't have. It has got border with the Lebanon and also Israel. So basically, what I'm trying to say, the stakeholders who are involved are more than one. But primary stakeholders, the actors have to be understood. The actors who are responsible for this mess which has been created are basically the Assad regime. Assad regime are the government forces, security forces, which are also in collaboration with the SDF, Syrian Democratic Forces. And when we talk about Syrian Democratic Forces, what it means is that it includes the umbrella of militia groups involving the People's Protection Forces, which are called as YPG, and the main Syrian Kurdish militia that controls the Syrian Kurdistan or Rojava. So when I say this, Simran, you see, Kurdistan itself is a very dynamic, very complex, and has got different meaning and connotation in different countries. To the north of Iraq is different, to north of Iran is different, to the east of Syria is different, and likewise, they have got different connotation. Turkey is also involved in this, and also mindful of the fact that America has got certain military bases towards the eastern portion of the Syria. While I am saying this, we should not lose sight of the fact that there is a power which is hiding behind the bush. It's the Turkey. Turkey is actually the main driver of this whole crisis which has come about. As per my understanding, I don't think I am wrong, although a lot of open media agencies are saying that America is the one which has given clearance to go ahead with this counteroffensive. I have my reasons to believe and justify that it is the Turkish leader who has given the trigger and go ahead, because there are more than 5 million. Although the electronic media is saying 2 million, 2.9 million, but as per my study and research, they almost touch to 5 million refugees of Syrian refugees who are presently in Turkey. Turkey's economy is also not in good healthy condition. They want these people to be pushed back to Syria. That's a big thing. And second, they're under a direct threat with multiple militias, particularly the Kurdish. So likewise, Turkey also is trying to have some kind of a buffer zone or some kind of a stable zone so that the militancy or the terrorist activities of Al-Qaeda or ISIS spill over to Turkey. Therefore, Turkey wants to have. So how does it play the role? Why am I saying Turkey is responsible? I am saying this, the third stakeholder, which is the most important one, is the STS, which you gave out in your preamble narrative, and it is led by Abu Muhammad al-Julani. Our previous speaker, Mr. Aditya, has covered it beautifully. His association with Al-Qaeda, how he fell apart with Al-Qaeda, Baghdadi, way back in 2003. He came to Syria, and since then he has been running a parallel government and moving from Idlib to a place called Aleppo, mindful of the fact it is one of the largest cities. Look at the complete expanse of the entire spectrum on which these people are spread. And today, they are supported by none other than the Syrian National Army. What is Syrian National Army? Syrian National Army is the other name of the Turkish soldiers or the supported group, which is actually supporting the HTS, the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. So all these things are the main actors who are playing. While I'm saying this, I'm mindful of the fact that by virtue of the geography of this country, by virtue of the historical legacy of an autocratic country, there are multiple stakeholders. When I talk about the Assad regime, it is supported by Iran, it is supported by Russia, it is supported by Hezbollah, as also to some extent the Iraqi militia. So when you are talking about all these stakeholders, what it implies or indicates is that here is a country where you have the international powers jostling for power or strategic rivalry. You have regional actors who are jostling with each other for their pound of flesh. You have internal dynamics of,
Well, absolutely. Major General Sudhakar ji, in fact, I'll request you to kindly stay on with us because we are also getting more breaking updates, and as far as there are developments that are happening on the soil of Syria, where we are tracking more information, where in fact Syria's new police chief has pledged to